Hello everyone, my name is Elisa. I represent Chile, and the title of my speech has changed to Humanity Stands as One. Chile, 1990. After a 17-year-long military dictatorship in which the armed forces kidnapped, tortured, and killed thousands of civilians, Patricio Aylwin became finally the first democratically elected president in 20 years. In his acceptance speech, despite everything, he still urged Chileans to stand united, both civilians and military. The people booed. The military had hurt them so much, but he stood his ground. Yes, gentlemen, yes, fellow Chilean civilians and military. Chile stands as one. 35 years ago, among that crowd, there was my dad, who, by the way, told me this story, and was one of the many Chileans who felt deeply inspired by these words. In such a divided country, Aylwin was strong enough to see the most important thing: to move forward, to improve. We must remain united. This is not only true for Chile, but for all of humanity. The unity that we hold has accomplished so much, and it should continue to do so. One example is the aftermath of the discovery in 1984 of a hole in the ozone layer. We recognized that man-made chemicals had hurt what was there to protect us from UV light from the sun, potentially increasing the risk for the population to develop cancer. So, we took responsibility and united to revert it. For this, the UN created the Montreal Protocol, which regulated the consumption and production of these substances. Russia, the UK, the US, Serbia, Chile, all 197 UN states have signed and obliged by it. United. And if you think that worked, you would be right. In March 2025, the MIT study fingerprinting the recovery of the Antarctic ozone showed that the ozone is healing because of those changes. Can't you see how powerful humanity can be when it stands united? How much we can accomplish? And yet, despite all of this, our efforts, our powers, our triumphs, humanity's unity is being threatened. Hate is getting stronger and polarization is growing. For instance, the political center in the US has shrunk from 49% in 2004 to just 39% in 2014, according to think tank Pew Research Project. Political division is flourishing. The us versus them, the good versus the bad, we're being manipulated to stand apart when we should remain united. And so I say, let's not let them. Let's prove that we are more than hateful narratives. We are more than propaganda. We are humans who are united, and we are powerful. However, for our unity to be that strong, we must first understand that its strengths lay not in being the same, but in moving forward thanks to our differences. There is no us versus them. We should not fight against each other because of our disagreements. We have to learn that just one quality will never be enough. We can't build a strong world, a better unity without diversity, the same way we can't build a house without architects and construction workers and engineers. We have overcome other challenges. Thanks to our unity, the ozone is healing. If we were able to accomplish that, we can take the next step to really unite. Because humanity, comprehension, empathy are more powerful than any threat. You, a friend, a stranger, me, we can fight against polarization. We can move towards a better world. Ladies and gentlemen, this is time to stand together. It is time to be strong. It is time to prove that everything we have achieved has worked, that we have understood that Russians and Ukrainians, conservatives and liberals, Christians and Muslims, civilians, and military, humanity stands as one. Be strong enough to see the most important thing, to move forward, to improve. We must remain united. Unity is power. Thank you.
Thank you, Elisa. Questions? Yes, thank you.
In today's society, while there have been projects that Montreal Protocol that have managed to unite the entire world, a lot of unity is between two large forces in order to oppress smaller countries, for example, on the world stage. And so instead of uniting humanity, unity can be a very divisive force through making polarized forces more powerful. To what extent do you think we should make sure that unity is to the benefit of everybody?
The first thing that we have to think about when we talk about unity, especially as humanity, is that we are not united against each other. We should not suppress people. We should not make everybody the same. We should fight for our survival, for humanity's survival, for human survival. When two powers got together to fight against a little country, that is not unity. That is oppression. Real unity is like the Montreal Protocol, 197 states, all of the world. That is unity. That is good. Not suppression, unity. Thank you.
Next question.
In your speech, you mentioned something about the political situation in Chile. How do you think the change after 20 years has changed the identity of the inhabitants?
In 2019, Chile lived what we called estallido social, which was a series of protests where people realized that all of the legacy of the dictatorship is still in our culture. We realized that most of the things that we were living, most of our problems came from that constitution, from that legacy, from that dictatorship. So we fought to change it, to change the constitution. And we actually tried to do it 3 times, and none of them were passed. All of that fight, you could say, was for nothing. That Patricio Aylwin's speech was for nothing, but I don't agree with you. I think that Chile changes, improves maybe for some people, but we can still unite. We united in 2019. Maybe that was long ago, and maybe some things happened after that, but we still united. We were able to do that again. We're able to inspire again. We're able to take the legacy of the dictatorship back and keep on going forward. And the first person that said that thought that, was Patricio Aylwin in his first day, his first hour as president.
One more question.
You were talking a lot about how our world needs to be united. What do you think are some of the challenges preventing our world from uniting all the time?
The source that I quoted, the think tank Pew Research Project, actually did a survey in the 2016 election, and 21% of the Americans admitted to have shared fake news on purpose. 21% of the Americans admitted that. Social media has become a tool for not only fake news, but for polarization. That, right now, should be what we fight against. Not against each other, but against the will to share fake news. Why would we share fake news? That is the core question. We are facing a lot of challenges, climate change challenges, wars, maybe some illnesses. But I think the most important one is the challenge of suppression, of separation. The challenge that fake news and social media fuel. So I say that today the biggest challenge for unity is today's technology. Thank you.